was born 4 months premature, and when I was born, the retinas in my eyes detached. Now, doctors aren't really sure why that happened. Maybe it was from too much light. Maybe it was from too much oxygen there in the hospital, because the care that they had for young children in the hospitals in 1991 was different than it is now in the year 2020, because 29 years have elapsed from the hourglass of time. So overcoming that, doctors were not really sure if I would be able to live or not, but I was able to survive. And after many visits to the hospitals in Detroit, Michigan, and over in St. Louis, I was able to grow up and really learn that I needed to use my ears and my hands to be able to see the world and experience things that are in front of me, like listening when I'm when I did ride my big wheels trike around the driveway, to listen for trucks being in my way or the garage door being closed, or to be able to listen to the ever-present NASCAR auto race on the Motor Racing Radio Network as I traversed the concrete pavement of our driveway. I also had to use my ears to learn how to navigate around the house, because there was not always going to be a gate to keep me from falling downstairs. So I had to listen for people being in my way, reading the mail, people sitting on the stairs, doing tasks that they shouldn't be sitting on the stairs doing, but still doing while sitting on the stairs, and various other things. So using my ears really became my eyes, since I could not see, and also with my sense of touch, from learning how to tell the date on a coin or one of the 50 state quarters in the State Quarter series, to learning how to read Braille, which is the series of dots that individuals who are blind learn how to read so the world can be opened up to them, so you can read magazines and publications that come in Braille, the proper bathroom signs so you don't walk into the wrong bathroom, and various other interesting things that come in Braille, like Braille menus at the various restaurants. The lid on your McDonald's drink to see if they popped down the correct other, or if they popped down Dr. Pepper or tea. I can remember when McDonald's got the Braille lids, I made my mother and father go get drinks with Braille lids so we could investigate if they popped down the proper slot, because I was finally able to read that. So that was some of my time growing up, and being able to overcome being born 4 months premature. And that was just one of the lists of the obstacles that I've had to overcome. And farming mirrors my life so much in the obstacles that I've had to overcome, because farmers have to overcome their own obstacles on a daily basis. They have to decide so many things, and they have to love their job, because farming is not just a job, it is a way of life. And you see from Mr. Joel Gardner, who is your new president here of the Richland County Farm Bureau, Kenzie's Willing, Donna, and Betsy. Thankfully, Mr. Gardner mentioned the other staff members. I was trying to figure out who else there was on the staff today for 35 minutes, and I was struggling finding that. So I was happy that they got mentioned, because every role and every job in a company or organization is important. Graduated from the Indiana School for the Blind, and then I decided to attend college at the University of Evansville, where the former Evansville head men's basketball coach, Marty Simmons, made me a great promise and a great thing that would really change my life. Coach Simmons gave me the opportunity to sit on his Evansville men's basketball bench and be able to be around players and coaches. And I have 3 little sisters, 2 of whom are here. The other is off on another assignment, who all are great basketball players in their own right, in the sophomore and the 8th grade individual and the 6th grade individual. And for them, sitting on a basketball bench isn't very much fun. That means they may have become too frustrated on the basketball court, and their coach may have had to take them out, or they may have shot too many times, or maybe not enough, and just passed that ball away too many times. So for them, sitting on a basketball bench isn't really a treat. because it takes them away from the smooth hardwood of a 94 in high school and junior college or junior high basketball, 84-foot basketball court, and being able to play the game that they love so much. But for me, sitting on Evansville's bench gave me the opportunity to be around players and coaches and to experience college basketball. All of these were things that I did not think that I would be able to do in my life since I cannot see. So I was really grateful and thankful to Coach Simmons for giving me that opportunity. And it helped me do some of the things that I did later in my life. But we'll get to that in a few minutes down the line because we still have more life to live and more years to go through. Also, when I was at Evansville, I commentated sports on the radio as a radio analyst, a blind radio broadcaster. And people said, "Now Bryce, how can you commentate games on the radio as a blind radio broadcaster?" And that was all thanks to my great friend, Mr. Tom Benson, who still works at the University of Evansville. He taught me how to analyze games on the radio by listening to players and coaches and by studying the facts of the players and the coaches, listening to how their games were going. So I did 95 games when I was at Evansville in baseball and soccer, softball, men's and women's basketball. But the sports wasn't really the only thing. Some people think that it was the most important thing, but for me it wasn't. It was all of the students who helped me be successful in my time at Evansville with helping me get my food in the cafeteria or working with me on my free throws so I could make 12 straight free throws before an Evansville home game at the Ford Center in 2013. Because those students didn't have to help me. They helped me because they wanted to help me to be successful in my life and to overcome the challenges and the pitfalls that were put in front of me. So I was really grateful for those students who helped me. But I sometimes think that I took it for granted, and I really learned what the struggle was when you don't have people there to help you be successful in your life. When I transitioned to attending graduate school at Western Illinois University in Macomb, I graduated from Evansville in May of 2014, and I started going to graduate school at Western Illinois in August 2014. And it was really hard to find individuals who wanted to eat with me in the cafeteria because people were scared to guide me or they were busy or didn't have the time in their day. And one day at dinner, I was really hungry, and I always liked eating at 5 o'clock because the chocolate chip cookies were so good. And every so often we had apple pie, and I ate apple pie too, along with the ever great every 4 weeks on Saturdays, we had chicken parmesan and mashed potatoes. It was a chicken parmesan mashed potato Saturday with 3 chocolate chip cookies in October 2014 when I did not have anyone to eat with me, and the cafeteria never opened up at 5 o'clock. It was 5:15 on a Saturday, and it was always a rush, 5:15 until 6:30. I really wanted the chicken parmesan and the 3 chocolate chip cookies. So I went down by the elevator in the dormitory I stayed in, Thompson Hall, and I began asking individuals if they'd want to eat with me, or at least help me get my food tray. I guess if they left me by myself, I could find my way up by following the sounds of dishes and clanking trays to the receptacle where the trays were placed. But no one was willing to eat with me or to help me. They either said they were too scared to guide me. I had that happen 5 times. Or they were too busy to guide me, or they had already eaten. So finally it was about 5:45, and I knew there was only 45 minutes and the dinner rush left. So I walked into the cafeteria and I started listening to all of the tables. And I walked over to the first table in the cafeteria and I asked those individuals whether or not they'd be willing to eat with me. And they didn't really say anything, and they said, "No, we don't really want to do that." So I went to the second table of individuals in the cafeteria. It was right behind the first one, pretty easy, straight shot. I didn't have to worry about tripping over a chair because college students aren't the best at pushing in their chairs. So I went to the second table of individuals in the cafeteria, and I asked them if they wanted to eat with me. And they said that they'd be willing to help me get my food in my tray. And I met some great individuals that night who helped me throughout the rest of my year and 7 or 8 months left at Western Illinois. Rachel Bird, Blake Patinelli, Anna Askins, Summer Tracy, about 3 or 4 more individuals were at that table. And it was really hard going into the cafeteria, not so much for the fact of walking the 50 to 60 feet, maybe a little longer, to get myself into the tables, but realizing how much I had at Evansville and how much I had taken that for granted in my life. And it really showed me to never take things in my life for granted. And Western Illinois graduate school didn't really go as I thought it would. I didn't really get as many opportunities to do things like I did at Evansville, helping out with auctions for Susan G. Komen or things like that. So it showed me that you have to use the opportunities that you're given and make the best value of them that you can. So after finishing up at graduate school, I started emailing sports teams across the country and calling their front offices because I wanted to give back to help individuals who are disabled in every disabled group to be able to live their dream in their life, whether it's something with sports or doing something else, participating with a cheerleading team or ballet or dance team. So the first team I began helping was the Orioles in Baltimore, and I became, through doing that, by contacting the owner of the Orioles, and I explained to him what I'd been able to do in my life with commentating games on the radio, but how what I thought was most important and most impactful were the people who had given back to help me, just as my family had done when I was younger, spending all those countless hours driving me to Detroit, Michigan in the early morning, or the late night trips back from Detroit. How the students in college helped me at Evansville so gratefully and graciously, and how it was a struggle at Western Illinois, and how I had to live through that and to rise above that, and how I wanted to set up programs to give back to individuals to help them live their dreams. So with the Orioles, I've helped them make their spring training stadium, Ed Smith Stadium, more accessible, along with their Major League Stadium home, which is Camden Yards. I've helped them become the first ever team in sports to wear Braille on their jerseys to honor people who are blind and to show the importance of people who are blind learning how to read Braille. But most importantly, we have changed the narrative of that it's okay to be disabled, because we're going to put it out into the world and show that you can overcome those obstacles and those challenges. An extension of that is the work I do with the nonprofit I'm the co-founder of, the Beautiful Lives Project, where we work to give individuals of all disabilities the opportunity to help them live their dreams with programs in sports and cheerleading, ballet, and dance. And just like the staff here with the Farm Bureau does, we help individuals to learn that there are things out there in life that everyone wants to do, and doing a job or doing work that you consider is your life and not just a job, that's the best type of work you can do, and that's what farmers do on a daily basis. That's why you should be so proud of what is done by the Richland County Farm Bureau. A decent portion of what they said about farming and things of that nature I didn't really understand this evening, which is fine because I wasn't necessarily supposed to. But what I did understand was the most important thing, is that this staff has a passion for their job and a passion for helping people. And when you're running a nonprofit or you're running any business in the world, you have to have a passion for your job, because jobs often take more than 40 hours a week. You have to do things that you aren't sure that you should do. You have to mention things in a speech that you aren't really sure or not if they're going to cause you to cry, but you still have to put them in there, because that could be the thing that changes someone's life and helps him or her to have the best life possible. So, listening to this staff, that's something I always have to judge when we're hiring new nonprofit presidents. We don't say anymore, do you or can you do this work? We say, do you want to do this work? Because so many individuals can do so many things. I can drive down a driveway. It's not necessarily the safest thing for me to do. I could also tell Mr. Joel Gardner, who was seconding and commenting on his votes, but I could have someone who's up getting more chocolate cake or out taking a stroll in the slightly rainy February air. You wouldn't want me doing that job. So, considering that, some jobs, some groups of disabled individuals can't do, but everybody can find a job and something in their life that they're passionate about. And I'm so fortunate that I've been given these opportunities by Mr. John Angelos of the Orioles, Mr. Anthony Icavone, who is the chairman of our nonprofit, the Beautiful Lives Project, because being able to give back to these individuals of all disabled groups reminds me of what I was able to do during my time in college with sitting on the basketball bench and how people helped me to have the best life possible. So, as I think about farmers, Kinsey Zwilling and some other individuals here talked about safety. And I think it's important for farmers to always be safe, because the hardest part for someone is becoming disabled partway through his or her life, because you can think back to the time when you could see, and when you didn't have to walk using that cane or that crutch, and how the world now thinks of you differently. When I was attending a training program for individuals who are blind in Chicago, I helped some of the students learn how to read Braille because there weren't enough instructors to help everyone. And most of these students had become blind partway through their life, either through an accident or sickness or illness. And the hardest part wasn't teaching them the Braille and the 126 contractions that make words shorter that nobody understands, that I sometimes type when I'm typing an email or a Word document and I have to backspace out because they're not going to know what that means. The hardest part was convincing them that it's okay to be blind and it's okay to be different and to respect everyone's differences. I think that's what farming and farmers do so well, because they understand that it takes so many people to make farming be a successful operation. And it's great now to see more women going into farming, because no job or no role should be held by one group of individuals, because everyone deserves his or her chance to have their best life and to live his or her best life and always try to help others. So I don't know what I'm going to do during my 3.4 mile an hour walks on the treadmill during the 4 to 5 days a week that I walk on the treadmill, because I've thought so much about the Farm Bureau staff, this speech, and how this staff reminds me of the 12 and counting individuals we have working as a part of my nonprofit, the Beautiful Lives Project. Because this staff, the board, my good friend Darren Widener, who has traversed many miles with me to fighting Illini basketball games, Mr. Kreitz, who I didn't know was one of the students in my class's father until 15 minutes from now. As you see, Mr. Kreitz, 15 minutes has passed through time, and I haven't forgotten. So, doing all of that and having these people who really care about farming, which is what you guys do, is quite important, because they can help you be successful, and you can help them to really realize how much value that you have by calling them, emailing them, texting them, whatever you want to do to say thank you for helping us. And don't do it just when you have a meeting. Do it on a random Sunday at 11:55 in the morning. Even though there's all these rules about not calling people on Sundays, I still sometimes call people on Sundays, because if something needs to be said and it just can't wait till a Monday, well, it just can't wait till a Monday. So I've told you some things about my nonprofit. If you want to look at our nonprofit website, it's www.beautifullives.org. Beautifullives.org. We have lots of videos and pictures on there. They'll put some videos and pictures up about this speech. Kirsten, the 8th grade basketball individual, has been in charge of the video and picture taking duties for the night, unless she's passed that off to someone else, but she's normally very capable of those tasks. She's quite efficient at technology. So that's a bit about our website. If you want to donate, you can donate online. You can donate through check. You can donate in cash as well. Donating on the website or in check is fine. Every $5 to $7, depending what event we are running, if it's something in sports or something with art, helps another individual from a certain disabled group be able to live their dreams. But if you're only donating to one group tonight, and I really think there should only be one group you have on your table, at least from the two I've spoken about, it should be the Richland County Farm Bureau, because I'm so impressed with what this staff does. Normally, when I speak to a staff, I sometimes say, you need to do what you can to make your job be your life. but these guys do it every day to make their jobs their lives, from helping students learn how to be farmers, to giving back, to setting up this great dinner where they're able to thank all of the farmers and the individuals who help them. So I'd be happy to take whatever questions you might have about overcome the obstacles in your life. If you need me to try and advise you on overcoming an obstacle, always try to make your job be your life. If you want to ask me a question about that, we can do that. If you want to email me questions or comments, my email is bryce@beautifullives.org.